The unexplained leak in the Nord Stream pipelines carrying gas from Russia to European countries are now being described by European Union officials as sabotage.
This boiling water, churning above Russian gas pipelines, is the result of what Germany, Denmark and Sweden are now calling attacks, which have caused major leaks into the Baltic Sea. The two Nord Stream pipelines are at the center of an energy standoff between Russia and Europe. Denmark and Sweden released striking images a day after the leaks were reported, saying the largest gas leak had caused surface disturbance of around 0.6 miles in diameter. But it remains unclear what or who could have been behind the Nord Stream pipeline leaks. Europe on Tuesday said it was investigating claims of intentional attack leveled by several countries. Poland's Foreign Minister Zbigniew Rau pointed fingers at Russia, though without evidence.
We are not in a position to reject the notion that this could be an element of Russian hybrid war against NATO. The explosions took place very close to the Danish territorial waters, but not within the Danish territorial waters. Because if this were the case, this would be an intrusion into the NATO territory.
Sweden's Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson also expressed concern.
We have
Swedish intelligence, but we've also received information from our contacts in Denmark, and based on this, concluded that this is probably a deliberate act. It's probably a matter of sabotage.
Christopher Botzau is head of Denmark's energy agency.
It is very rare that damages of this type occur, and now 3 damages have happened within 24 hours, which is why we are very worried about what the reason for this could be.
Botzau says it could take a week for gas to stop draining out of Nord Stream 2, that ships could lose buoyancy if they enter the area, and has warned that because the sea surface is full of methane, there is an increased risk of explosions. Western countries imposed sanctions on Russia after they launched what they called a special military operation in Ukraine earlier this year. Moscow slashed its gas deliveries to Europe in retaliation, blaming Western sanctions for causing technical difficulties. But on Tuesday, Moscow also agreed that sabotage was a possibility. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned that sabotage was a lose-lose situation.
The leaks are under investigation. There are initial reports indicating that this may be the result of an attack or some kind of sabotage, but these are initial reports and we haven't confirmed that yet. But if it is confirmed, that's clearly in no one's interest.
The escalating energy war between European capitals and Moscow has damaged major Western economies, sent gas prices soaring, and has sparked a hunt for alternative supplies. While neither of the 2 pipelines currently leaking were in use on Monday, the incidents will sink any remaining expectations that Europe could receive fuel via Nord Stream 1 before winter.
Well, my colleague Rosie Burchard joins us live now from Brussels for more on this. And Rosie, is it fair to say that the language on this issue has stiffened rather overnight from the European Commission? And what might that robust response look like, do we think?
Absolutely. Well, the EU started by treading a pretty cautious path here, Ollie. First of all, the word from officials was that it was too soon to say what these leaks were caused by. But overnight, in the past 12 hours or so, we've seen EU officials being quite much more definitive in what they're saying. We've heard from an example from the EU's foreign policy chief Josep Borrell saying that that all information currently available points to the fact that this looks like a deliberate act or the result of a deliberate act. And European Commission President von der Leyen has used that word, which is very much on everyone's lips around Brussels, the word sabotage. Now, EU leaders have stopped short of laying the blame at anyone's feet. They have not officially blamed Russia, for example, but they have threatened a robust and united response. So they've threatened retaliation. Now, what could that look like? Well, the tool the EU has really at its disposal in its toolbox is sanctions against perpetrators of this potential attack. Now, the EU, of course, already has a swathe of sanctions imposed against Russia over its war in Ukraine and even for other issues. So there are some analysts here in Brussels saying, well, the EU is looking a little bit impotent at this time. They perhaps can look into further sanctions, but at this stage, we should say that investigators are still looking into the causes of these leaks, even if that word sabotage is very much having a consensus built around it now, with eyebrows being raised across this European Union. But what is certainly the case is that this is a dramatic escalation in this ongoing energy crisis which is being experienced across this European Union, both as households and businesses struggle to pay soaring energy bills and as European Union governments scramble to replace gas supplies which were once imported from Russia.
Thank you, Rosie. That's Rosie Burchard reporting live from Brussels.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.